Welcome to the Defence Connect podcast, Australia's leading voice in national security and defence industry intelligence, direct from the nation's top policy and business experts.
Well, g'day everybody, Steve Kuper at Defence Connect. I hope you are well. We are joined today in the studio by Computer, our gentle giant, the one and only Robert Dougherty, senior journalist.
Attention.
And the rose between the thorns, Bethany Alvaro. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. We are recovering after what was a busy week for the DC team here. We had the inaugural Australian Defence Industry Accelerator Summit, which was really well received. And of course, the night of nights, the Oscars of the Australian defence industry, the Australian Defence Industry Awards, now in their 8th year. Guys, you pulling up all right?
Yeah. 1 week on, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Well, it is literally
exactly 1 week.
1 week, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was probably the best one I've been to. That was easily, yeah.
The awards or the summit?
Well, the conference was good, but the awards was probably the best awards night I've been to, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely, there was a little bit
more
packed. Buzz. Yeah.
How many people? Maybe
I think it was a tad over 850 people in the room.
At the awards.
At the awards, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like it too.
Yeah.
It did. It was a lot of
We're going to have to hire out that football stadium next.
Yeah. Although I don't like our chances of getting people if it's going to be outside, especially in Canberra in July. There was a lot of complaints about why do you guys have it in July in Canberra?
Why do we have it in July?
That's a very good question that I don't know the answer to.
Well,
is it maybe it's a post-budget thing or something?
Yeah,
you have your
possibly.
budget in May and then you've got time.
End of financial year. Yeah, it could be that. Big week. We a lot of our conversation points this week are out of the conversations held during the Accelerator Summit. Rob, I will get you to lead us off.
So the actual summit itself, a couple of big names there. So we had Daniel Munro. That was a highlight speech there. There was a couple of panels. So panel with Michael Pezzullo and Pezzullo and Ross Babbage. That was a bit of a wake up call, I thought.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right in terms of we needed a bit of a break after that because that was some heavy stuff.
Yeah, it was. I did try and get Pez to cheer things up a little bit and maybe be not so abrupt in his messaging, but Pez is going to do what Pez is going to do, and we love him for it. But it was a very very confronting part of the day, and I mean the whole comment around Australia is theoretically, if a conflict was to break out in the next 18 to 24 months, Australia would be less prepared than we were in 1941. I think that's what really kind of stuck in people's minds. It was just this
Not that we were particularly prepared in 1941.
Yeah.
You know?
I haven't been saying that it's going to happen within the next 2 years for like the past 10 years or so.
No. There's always been this. The time frame has been
the Davidson window.
Yeah, it's the 27, 28. Davidson. Yeah, Admiral Philip Davidson.
Okay.
It's always been that 27, 28 time period. So they've been saying it's coming
in that specific time
period because that's sort of the ideal, the optimal moment that President Xi has given. He said, "We want you to be ready by."
Why?
And I think that's
any
weather
idea why?
conditions.
There's weather conditions.
Yeah.
So there's
Really?
two periods of the year where the weather is quite calm
in
the Taiwan Strait.
Okay, yeah.
You need to be able to have your barges and stuff get across without sinking, and it's going to be
capsizing.
Yeah.
And it complicates the logistics. It complicates the fighting.
Couldn't that happen like any year though? seasons are annual.
Yes, but there's periods in the seasonal change where it's more conducive to a large scale amphibious invasion. So it's I think it's February to May, and people in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong, and September to midway through November. So there's these 2 periods, and part of it is to coincide with the 50th. Is it the 50th? 100th birthday of the Chinese Communist Party.
Really?
The PLA, actually. 100th anniversary of the PLA.
I thought it was the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party.
Definitely the PLA. I'm not sure about the Communist Party, but I do know.
Check.
I do know as well, obviously, to get your guys across, there's a lot of people that need to go across from the PLA. So they're going to use civilian, dual use barges, like car barges.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did see on Twitter yesterday, there's photographs of some of those large, I think we discussed them end of last year, those really large
the pylon sort
the
of ones,
pylon driven the landing platforms that are based around pylons that are like 200 meters long.
Yeah.
Oh,
for vehicles.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 of them being positioned in Guangzhou.
Guangzhou.
Yeah. Thank you.
But those barges are for vehicles. They basically eliminate the need for you to go onto the beach because they, you can get further inland.
Yeah.
And they're stable and stuff. But yeah, I would expect to see civilian barges pressed into service for troops and stuff.
Yeah.
So you need very calm seas.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't just have an amphibious invasion. You'd do an airborne invasion.
Both. Yeah.
Would that logistically, does that happen at the exact same time?
Yes.
Like at the exact same time?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to actually to be effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what happens
because
what happens is your airborne forces will form loggerheads and they'll form lodgements where and typically they'll go in with the special forces or maybe just after special forces have gone in. And we saw some photos that Ross Babbage put up of like full-scale replica and of critical Taiwanese infrastructure that he was showing us.
Yeah, there's one of the presidential palace that we've seen.
And the Parliament building.
Yeah.
And he was saying that they rotate units of the PLA through every year, concurrent, every year, so that they train on it. So they're drilling really, really hard. But yeah, your special forces would go in and do decapitation strikes on key personnel like your chain of command and your national command authorities. And then your airborne forces will go in and they'll form bridgeheads and take key infrastructure choke points to prevent any counterforce moving towards the landing zones. Then you're amphibious. But it's all happening all in real time, all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the air combat operations that would be going on. Your Navy would be moving in and around.
Navy blockade.
Has Taiwan, not responded? I mean, I guess responded. Have they said anything about it? Because if everyone else knows that it's happening, what have they...
I think they've
certainly increased defence spending.
And I think their basic approach is come and take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those months, by the way, April, May, September, and October.
Okay, so I was pretty much bang on the button.
Yeah. But they have in recent years they've sort of had HIMARS, purchases and stuff. And,
Apaches.
Certainly, they practice beach landings. Repelling beach landings.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. And
just getting back to that 1941 point of view, though, I imagine at that point we probably still had car manufacturing in Australia as well. So that's an added thing that we wouldn't have.
And the Commonwealth Aircraft Factories, Aircraft Corporation, the CAC, which...
That was still going?
Well, it was being stood up.
Yeah.
We'd bought designs off the US to locally manufacture.
Oh, yeah, so the boomerang and stuff would have come over there.
And then the P-40.
Could we not do that now?
No.
Why?
Could we not do that now?
Yeah. Maybe not like maybe buy their design and then make our own, but like some sort of like agreement or like acquisition of like their ones.
You can acquire other countries, but at that point as well, you've got to imagine that the US is probably involved in its own war.
Yeah.
So
they're involved.
Yeah, and so if they're involved, we're involved, and so they're probably wanting to
focus
hang
on
to
theirs.
their assets,
I mean, but at the same time, if there's attrition, which there would be in any peer competition fight, peer competitor fight, replacing those losses quickly, effectively, and close to the theatre is not the worst option. And I mean, there was an expectation. It would be a couple of years ago now that as part of India selecting the F-16 the F-16 for one of their fighter programs, they would Lockheed Martin would uproot the F-16 factory essentially and relocate it to India, and F-16s would be built in India
for America.
I believe it was for America as well, and global partners who were buying F-16s. Again, if I'm wrong on that, please in the fact check, in the comments, please correct me on that. But I know there was definitely an offer from Lockheed Martin to shift the factory to India to build F-16s. Whether that was just for the Indians or for the global market, I'm not 100% sure. I can't recall. It's a couple of years ago now.
I'd love to see, just on this Taiwan thing as well, I'd love to see some of that chip manufacturing. Obviously, that's quite important. 70% of the world's chips coming out of there, etc. But I'd love to see an agreement between Australia and Taiwan, whether we could stand up some sort of factory here or something like that. And
for them?
Not for them, but maybe some sort of expertise exchange, agreement.
Yeah. Do we work with them much now?
Taiwan?
Yeah.
We have to tread
it's a fine line.
Yeah.
Well, there was the US Chips Act.
Yeah.
Which
diversifying that stream.
There's debates about the degrees of success, but I think when you're comparing an industry that you are in essence just re-establishing in America or in the West compared to the microprocessing and computer chip industry that's been in Taiwan for the better part of 40 years.
Decades,
50 years.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to move.
You can't expect to be moving mountains in the space of 3 or 4 years, because the CHIPS Act was a Biden administration.
Yeah.
Go on.
Just on that as well, on the anniversary of CCP it was 105th anniversary this year.
Okay.
So we're not due for another anniversary for a while yet. Yeah. So PLA anniversary next year.
And that brings me to an insight piece that I did yesterday now, off the back of a piece by the former Australian ambassador to Beijing, actually, Jeff Raby, in the Australian Financial Review, which was a bit of an interesting one. And his whole approach, it obviously comes off the back of the submarine-launched ballistic missile tests recently in the South Pacific, and was basically saying, China's acting like a great power. We should expect it. Kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
Stop being so...
I like as well, from that point of view, Andrew's founder, Pamalaki, came out, earlier this year and said, with the PLA and with China, you don't build, the world's second, third largest army to settle a territorial dispute.
Oh, the world's largest army.
Yeah, the world's largest army.
The world's largest military,
Yeah, and navy, etc. You don't do that to settle one territorial dispute, and then you go, we're just going to disband everything now. It's actually there too. He is envisioning that it will roll on through some of the other islands and things like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw recently that they've made...
Maybe that's pessimistic, but I can see the theory.
The rationale there.
Yeah.
But I mean, great powers have always typically had large-ish standing militaries. It's a point of national pride.
Has any, not?
Not really.
Yeah,
Not that
I can't think of any.
I mean, you could technically argue that the British didn't have a large standing army, but they did have a large standing navy. So
When?
during the height of the British Empire, it wasn't because they're an island nation. They're not really ground combat. Is not really
their
their
thing.
niche.
Yeah.
I wonder what the stats are on nations across history building up a large army and then
Not doing
disbanding
anything
it,
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
probably
Can
fairly
you
low.
disband an army?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
What would be the point of that?
You could save on costs potentially.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you,
we
if
saw
you had
lots
no
of
need for
units being
defense. Yeah.
scaled back and retired across a lot of countries, and Australia included, after the end of the Cold War.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even before the end of the Cold War, after we shifted from forward defence to defence of Australia, the Australian military was scaled back.
Wow.
Or if you lose a war, usually have to disband your army after that.
Yeah.
Like entirely?
Yeah, well, Japan definitely.
They didn't. It wasn't entirely, but it was for a time. They were. You could call them like a pseudo police force.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually you're not allowed to keep your army
Yeah.
after you lose a war.
Yeah. Germany went from 3 or 4 million men after the First World War to 100,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I found the comments from this former ambassador to be quite arrogant.
In what way?
It was this. China's going to do what China's going to do, and we just have to get used to it, and we shouldn't be so apoplectic about it, and we should take a leaf out of Japan's book, which is very calm and measured, and they're used to it because they have to deal with the Russians and the Chinese and the North Koreans and things like that. And it's like, yeah, I kind of understand that, but that's exposure therapy, right? Like they're having to deal with these things so constantly that the government has a method of dealing with what happens. If there's an
I wonder if that's a conditioning to aggression.
Yeah.
Almost
Well, that's
like
what I mean by exposure therapy, right? Like they're so used to it now that it's just like, okay,
natural.
we know what the next steps are from our perspective. But because it's so different to Australia, because we're so conditioned into thinking we're so far away from everything, no one's going to bother us. And it's like all of a sudden, after the Navy divers were pinged and injured, and then the incidences with the P8s and the People's Liberation Army Air Force, and then the last year the circumnavigation by the People's Liberation Army Navy, Australians are going, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And I guess as well the extreme of that would be, say, start of World War II, appeasement and stuff like that. That's almost a conditioning as well, but that's an extreme.
Yeah, I mean, you could logically go there, but I think part of it is part of the response from policymakers and the Australian public is there's a formal diplomatic process that you go through, which everybody is like, okay, this is a box ticking exercise to say, hey, we're not very happy with you. But I think part of the reason that people are starting to get a little jumpy about it, particularly in the Australian context, is they've realised, unlike Japan, we really don't have much of a capacity to push back.
Does Japan?
Yeah, the Japanese military is probably one of the best in the world.
Yeah. Are you talking about against China specifically?
Yeah. They definitely, they're not a nuclear power.
Yeah.
But they are,
technologically quite advanced.
Yeah.
Very, very well equipped, well funded, and expanding and modernising at a rate of knots. Like they're doing really, really good stuff.
Their research as well is pretty.
Their R&D is very good. And I mean that's evidenced by us acquiring Megami, right?
Yeah. Well, shipbuilding's very good.
Shipbuilding's very good.
There's a lot to like.
Yeah.
Let's all move to Japan.
We're right in the firing line there. So no.
Japan's cool.
Yeah.
Love Japan.
But yeah, I just found the commentary very arrogant. And just, I going through it and writing, reading it and rereading it and writing again, I came to this conclusion that it was the reason that policymakers and the public are so concerned is because there's a subconscious understanding that we actually don't have a capacity to push back in any meaningful way beyond a very sternly worded letter or phone call.
Yeah. It's almost like an extension of the let's hope this blows over. She'll be right. It's complacency.
Yeah. And apathetic, right?
Yeah.
Like really
Do you think we are?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, massively. Yeah.
Even like physically, like in our military?
Yes. Oh, not necessarily in the military. I think the Australian Defence Force is very well aware of what the threats.
They do the best with what they can. Really.
But it comes to social license. If there's no social license to increase funding, to increase the size at an accelerated pace, like we're supposed to be growing the military, the ADF to 80-ish thousand by 2035.
Yeah. If you look at countries that a country that is taking it seriously, I would say Poland is a good example. They're taking the threat of Russia very seriously. Now they've got a border with Russia, so that's
a land border.
it's a bit different. It's a bit different, but at the same time, the theory that you have to make hard choices if you're going to keep a competent military and you're going to be prepared for whatever may happen, that takes political leadership that's saying we have to prioritize this. It's going to, potentially there's going to be some impacts on cost of living and stuff like that. And that sort of thing. But defense is more important. Defense is the most important thing. Well, not losing a country is the most important.
Yeah.
What was the analogy? I can't remember if it was Pez or Ross used, that your nation's military is your home and contents insurance, which I use that quite regularly. But it was we all pay our annual home and contents insurance, and it goes up a bit every year, or quite a lot depending if you're in a high fire zone, you're in a flood zone, whatever.
Yeah,
right? But it's proportional, and it's a cost that we all pay. Understanding that something bad could happen, but it doesn't necessarily happen every year.
Yeah.
And that's the way we need to start framing that part of the conversation with the Australian public. Yes, we'd all love to spend infinite money on schools and hospitals and all the warm and fuzzy stuff, and school and libraries and all that sort of stuff. But the reality of the world is we don't live in a world that allows for that. It's very much rules of the jungle.
More so now than before.
Where, I don't know if you guys know, but where in our national spending does defense sit? If let's say health is, I don't think health is first, but health and Medicare is first. Is it defense spending second, or?
I think it's third or fourth, maybe. Computer is fact checking.
Checking.
Yeah, I think it's third or fourth.
Okay.
It's tied.
That's pretty good though, no?
It's tied with NDIS spending at the moment.
I feel like that sounds like pretty good.
I think our debt servicing has overtaken defence spending, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I do think as well, and I just want to put this out as well, that complacency is a lot of it. I think is an addiction to, cost of living, and and the hospitals and everything. Yeah, that's really important that you have those, and they have to be at a high standard. But I think Australians as a public now are so addicted to having it all in terms of all of cost of living, medical, and everything like that, and not spending on defence, that if successive governments have to put that money aside for that to get their votes to be in power for the next election run. And so I think we're basically addicted to maintaining that.
Yeah, that makes sense though, because if there were to be a conflict, or even if there isn't a conflict, but just the everyday person now in Australia, they're not really worried about that. They just want to be able to, pay their bills and have dinner and go to school, and if they break their leg, get their leg fixed, So I think that
Yes. Okay, so Lowy Institute is saying that it's the third largest area of government expenditure, trailing only social security, welfare, and health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good to me. Like, I know, like I think most people, if it were to happen, whether it be like in 10 years or 2 years or anything like that, like, I think people are going to be, it's just like human nature. You're just going to be concerned with your well-being and your family's well-being. Like, yes, obviously your country's well-being as well, but like in the day-to-day, your kids have to go to school and you need to get groceries. Like,
yeah. I think it probably depends on what you see day to day as well.
Yeah, true. If you're in like an industry that it's obviously more present, then you're going to be more aware of it. But I'm just thinking of like a public perception.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's not going to be a repeat of what we saw kind of happen during the COVID pandemic, which is, why aren't we prepared? Why don't we have this? And why don't we have masks? And why don't we have respirators? And why don't we have hand sanitizing manufacturing capability? It's going to be
IV bags as well.
You think it would be like that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think, and the government, because it will have so many flow-on effects for the Australian economy, like our fuel.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So all of those things are going to be first, second, and third order effects that are going to affect everybody's day-to-day life.
No, yeah, I think that defense spending needs to remain high. Like, I'm just saying, like, what the public perception is. I'm trying to picture that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that, but I think what we will see is that at the end of when the hits the fan, people will go, why haven't we been spending enough money on it?
Do you think?
Yeah. I genuinely think. I think we will see that. And I was having this conversation with somebody.
Was that at ADIA? Or not?
No, this was in a podcast I did earlier in the week. And I think a lot of people in the average punter, they get distracted by the big number headline.
Okay.
So they see $40 or $50 billion on future frigates. Hunters, I'm referring to, not the Megamis. And they go, oh, well, that should buy us a large number of ships. That should buy us a dozen. That should buy us, 18.
Yeah.
Like, we should, they see these headline figures but they don't understand
the context and
the
stuff.
context.
Yeah.
Right? When you've got, I think from memory, the latest analysis is that a single Hunter class frigate is going to be worth $9 billion. It's
one?
For one. And it's like the most expensive non-aircraft carrier surface vessel in the world.
Yeah.
So and you go, hang on, where's all this money going?
Yeah.
So there's this really big disconnect between what people are seeing in terms of the money that's being spent and then
the physical outcome, the tangible outcome. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go on a rant about Hunter, but when you're spending $9 billion on Hunter and you've got the same amount of firepower as your general purpose frigates, the ones that are being acquired from Japan, can you really call that a tier 1 surface combatant? That's where I will leave Hunter. But, when you and then when the government comes out and says we're spending $887 billion over the next decade, people go, oh yeah, that seems like it'll solve all our problems, right? But they because they're so concerned and so worried, and rightfully so, about putting food on the table, paying their bills, getting their kids to school, making sure that their healthcare, their health insurance is paid for, doing their home chores, vacuuming, cleaning, walking the dog, all of that sort of stuff. They go, yep.
Yeah.
They're outsourcing the responsibility and the level of informed decision making when it comes to voting at voting time to, government said $887 billion over the next 10 years. That seems pretty good. That money seems like it'll be, they don't have the time to go in and go, oh, actually, we're not really getting much juice for our squeeze.
Yeah. But I mean, you can't just get infinite money and.
Oh, no. Yeah. But the same goes for health and, and social security, right? Like like if you look at it, health and social security is constantly, and education, the money's constantly going up.
I think as it should, though.
But does it necessarily need to go up if the outcomes are declining? Look at our education system. Our educational outcomes have been constantly declining for the last 30 years.
Well, if there's more incentives,
going up.
there's more incentives, like, 20% off your HEX or something, more people are probably likely to go to uni, and those barriers of entry get lower, and that means that you have a more educated population.
But not necessarily, because if the barriers of entry are lower, it means more people who shouldn't go to university are going, because by virtue of the barriers to entry being lower. Not everybody needs to go to university.
No, but there are people that do want to go, or maybe want to go to university, want to do a career path that they can do, and they have the skills to do it, but they might, have a disadvantage that is blocking them from getting there.
I do think we're going off track here.
Yeah, we are.
Into education. But I will point out that most newspapers and stuff, most media companies have an education area or a dedicated education reporter. You don't see that many with a dedicated defence reporter. So
look, I
media's
think
dropped the
that
ball on this as well.
They're all very important, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think one is more... I don't think one is objectively more important than the other.
Depends on your timing.
I think it just depends on...
your timing.
It depends on a lot of things, but...
Yeah, but let's crack on.
Yes. Another one from you, Roberto.
Yep.
Chief economist.
Yeah, so this is from Luke Yeoman, and really good. I thought it was a really good address by him at the conference.
Yes.
Everyone seemed very
engaged.
attentive and engaged with it,
You don't often hear from, that economist side of defence and things like that, so that was good. And he spoke about the AI bubble, the forecasting that CPA has done, and they seem to think that they do expect to see some corrections over time, but they still see value in AI moving forward over the next couple of years, and in particular productivity that could be lifted by AI. He seemed to think that could be productivity lift of 1% entirely possible over the next year, potentially even 2.5% optimistically, or pessimistically 0.5% productivity.
How do you measure a productivity lift?
Oh, there's a huge, complicated economic equation.
It's like a full-on objective measure.
I think here we're talking about national productivity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And stuff,
Yeah. Okay.
But
so for us, it would be how many articles per day, how many words per article, how long did it take to put those into, how long did it take to write, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. But we're talking about a net benefit nationally.
Yeah.
I wonder what that
in this
equation
case,
would look like.
Yeah, it's probably
that would be it. Yeah.
In this case, obviously a lot of the tech companies, AI companies at the moment, are valued very highly, in the shares and things. And so there was an idea there that had to correct at some point as a bubble where everything would crash. So
I don't disagree with that. I do think that it'll probably will be there will be a correction.
Yeah. Which everyone's on board. There'll be a correction. How big that correction is the thing.
That will be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
To see how that shakes out.
The other part of his address that I thought was good was the fuel and oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
And his team seemed to think that there would be they could reach a critical breaking point if there's more action in Hormuz,
which we are seeing.
We are seeing. Yep.
Ceasefire lasted long again.
Yeah.
So he said if there was a forecast disruption of oil exports for 6 to 8 weeks, that could raise the price of oil to $150 US a barrel plus.
1970s, here we come.
Which would be a catastrophic result, I think he said. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
I did listen to the recent interview with JD Vance, the vice president, and he was saying, look, we expect some rocky periods. We expect that there will be a bit of a, there'll be some false starts, but at the end of it, he's because he's obviously the lead negotiator for the United States. He's expecting there to be a positive outcome
Are you talking about a ceasefire?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he said there'll be some false starts and things. But
I mean, it's been, I think it's the first one was like in May or something.
We've had a couple of
April.
ceasefires, haven't we?
Yeah.
There's been at least 3.
Or March. Yeah, something like that.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, I saw something about the US is getting ready to hit Pickaxe Mountain, which is the Iranian hardened command and control facility, which will be interesting to see whether they pull Midnight Hammer 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I think as well, I mean, outside the Middle East, the Iran has its proxies, with Yemen and stuff, the Houthi rebels there.
Yeah.
And a few others, and you just go, there are so many other groups that could actually stop a ceasefire going ahead just inadvertently.
Yeah. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Because they're under their own, not that they're under their own orders, but they're kind of making up their own orders, aren't they?
It
would be
the
a very
whole point
loose
of,
command structure.
delegated,
So
decentralized.
So who knows if that'll ever truly become a ceasefire?
Watch this space.
Yeah.
We are running out of time. So, Rob, do you want to give us a quick rundown on the commentary from another guest speaker at the Australian Defence Industry Accelerator Summit? David Nockels, First Assistant Secretary, Defence Trade, Regulation and Advanced AUKUS Capabilities Division.
Yeah, so this one was kind of interesting from Department of Defence, and often we hear that they want to be an enabler, not an obstacle or a gatekeeper, and in previous years, I think industry would be correct in saying it can be hard to work with defence sometimes. So that was very much the pitch here again. Of particular note, Nockels was saying that Australian companies have to watch their security. They have to watch their data sharing, retention of data, and also disposal of that data. Obviously, there's a lot of cyber concerns coming out from defence products. So definitely, Defence is happy to work with companies on that.
Yeah.
But it is something that industry will have to adapt to.
There was a very interesting breakout session at the summit from Defence Export Controls and Border Force.
Oh, yes.
That were
talking.
talking.
Yeah,
that one was really good. I wrote an article about it that's going out in tomorrow's bulletin.
Yes.
And it was very interesting talking about what industry and businesses can do to make sure that they're complying with all of those things, so then they can be supporting defence and getting their products through the market, but doing it safely and in a way
that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see more defence exports out of Australia. Maybe if we can streamline that process a bit. That certainly, there's a period of time where if you don't have those defence contracts domestically, I've heard it being described as a valley of death, where you basically run out of funding and you need exports to keep going. So, yeah, it'd be good to see that process streamlined.
Agree. Well, guys, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yes.
For just a reminder for people who have a general interest in the aviation and aerospace parts of the world, the Australian Aviation Summit is on again this year, Thursday, 6th of August at the Star. There's some really great panel sessions. There is I've been told not to call it a Boeing v Airbus fireside conversation, but it's going to end up being a Boeing v Airbus. There's a geopolitical session about the impact on aviation, civil aviation, and airport infrastructure, which will be really good. So if you haven't yet, get your tickets, head over to australianaviation.com.au/summit, I believe the website is. If not, just head over to australianaviation.com.au and all the information will be there.
We've got the Australian AI Awards coming up as well.
We do.
That's August 14th.
Get the dates.
That's
August
a Friday.
14th.
Yep.
So
if you're interested in cybersecurity or Australian AI, that'd be the place to be.
Yes, definitely. That's it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
For people who want to stay up to date with the latest in defence industry and the national security conversation, head over to defenceconnect.com.au, or you can find us wherever you get your social media. Barty Chop. Until next time, bye-bye.